All right, guys, excuse my appearance today. We're going to do something a little different today regarding mental health. I know I haven't been posting much this week, but a couple people had requested that I do something regarding mental health and how I came to be me. And I figured today was the perfect day to start because it is the anniversary of my dad's death, and that played a huge role in my life. So basically, my mom was a very young mom. She had me at 16, and she really hadn't lived her life. My dad, he was a drug dealer, and yeah, so they didn't work out anyways. They had split up. They were like middle school sweethearts, but they did end up splitting up and going their separate ways. But regardless, I was both of my parents' entire world. I remember specifically one Christmas, it must have been like my first Christmas, my dad had dressed up as Santa Claus and came and brought me my presents, and just like little random memories that I remember, mostly through pictures, but nevertheless. So basically what had happened is when I was 2 years old, my dad went down to Florida to go work with, I don't know why I put that in quotations. He actually did go down there for a job, but it's unclear what the job was. He went down with some people he thought he could actually trust. And so he drove from Maine to Florida with these people. In Pennsylvania, they stopped at a bar. My dad then got in a car accident. I was told my entire life that it was a car accident until probably about maybe 5 years ago when I found out that it was suspicious. And I found that out from a bunch of his friends. My mom never knew the whole story. My grandparents always kept it like hush hush, like, oh no, it was a car accident, it was a car accident, it was a car accident. So we'll get into that in a minute, but essentially he did not die from the injuries of this accident. He was in a vegetative state. He was life flighted. He ended up being in a vegetative state for 14 years. When I was 16, he eventually died. He got pneumonia back to back and his body couldn't handle it. So that is how he passed on. So I spent the 14 years that he was here after the accident visiting him in a rehab, and he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he had to eat through a tube, and I basically just watched him deteriorate. His hands were stuck like this, and I mean, but he was probably my best friend because he was the only person in my life that couldn't talk back when I was talking to him. So I would lay in the bed with him and just talk to him, like tell him about my day, tell him what was going on with my life. And I think I considered him my best friend because he just listened. Whereas obviously everybody has an opinion, but he couldn't have an opinion, or he couldn't voice his opinion, but he just listened. And I remember being a young child and just sitting there and like trying everything I could to like make him laugh and get a reaction out of him, and it worked. It did work. His favorite thing, I used to speak in the fan and like funny noises, and it would make my voice weird, and he loved it. Just like little things like that. And I'd always draw him pictures and put him on his wall and just lay in the bed with him. But I now growing up, like I always, like, you always have the what ifs, and it's like, what if I grew up with my dad, like, actually there? Like, would I be a different person? Would I be? I'm not sure. Like, maybe I would be. But at the same time, my dad was homophobic. So I'm like, would he have accepted me because I was his daughter? Like, I was his whole world. I was the thing that he lived for. Or, like, would he have disowned me? I don't know. I don't. And, like, yeah, it kills me. And it kills me that, like, I know last year hit me hard on his death anniversary because I was supposed to get married last year. And I was like, he's not going to be able to see me get married. Like, he's not going to be able to walk with me down the aisle. Excuse me, stop. Sorry, my cats are fighting. He's not going to be able to walk me down the aisle. Like, and that hurt. It really did. I know he would always be there in spirit, but, like, it's not the same. You know what I mean? And that's not to say, like, I have a great father figure in my life. Like, he's amazing. I am a daddy's girl to the core. Like, he does so much for me, and I can never thank him enough. Like, he has never left my side, but there's always that, like, what if? So into the story about how I found out that his death was suspicious. His friend messaged me and was basically just giving me some information, and it all just seems a little weird, and everybody's like, this should be a TV show. Like, it's so weird, but basically, he had blunt force trauma to the back of the head. The car accident supposedly hit a tree, and he was in the front seat of the car driving. He didn't have his license. But so there was not the amount of blood that was found in the seat that he was in was not consistent with his injuries or anything happening there. His elbow was shattered, which was on the opposite side of the window, and they said it was from him trying to, like, elbow the window out, but it was the wrong arm. So that didn't make any sense. And so, like, I did some more research, and his friend had also gone down and stayed with this guy that he was down there with, who everybody tells me is a dangerous man. Like, don't go find him. He's dangerous. Like, I'm like, I just want to talk to him. And he went down and stayed with this man, and this man pulled a gun on him and was like, do you want to end up like Corey? And that's a huge red flag to me. Like, what do you mean? And this was the man that was with my dad. Well, come to find out, this is as far as I've gotten, and I'm still searching. I'm still trying to get answers. But this is as far as I've gotten. They went to the bar. My dad went to the bathroom, and when he came back, he found his wallet was missing. And the guy that he was with was like, oh, some girl took the wallet. And my dad found out it was him that, in fact, stole his wallet. And they ended up getting into a fight, and clearly this man brutally assaulted my dad, and then staged it to be a car accident. Now, there was another person there, but nobody knows who it was except for the other man that was there, and I'm assuming his baby mama, which I'm trying to get the information out, but I pushed her pretty hard the last time I talked to her and got some information. But there was another man, because he was found wandering around, confused, like mortified about what had happened. I still don't know the name of this man. I did find the name of the man that had assaulted my dad. And I ended up tracking his family down, and I was like, do you know where he is? Like, the trail leaves off cold, and, like, I haven't seen any movement for, like, years. And I ended up contacting his child's mom, who used to be friends with my mom, which is weird. My mom's like, I didn't even know they had a kid together. Like, I didn't know that was his kid. But and found out that he actually had died. He was in and out of jail his whole life. He was a violent man, but he did die from cancer. So now it's like I'm at a standstill, because the only other person that can attest to that is this man, and he's not here. So I'm still trying to find the information and still trying to piece everything together. It is a little harder because my dad was not on my birth certificate and I was not on his death certificate. And my family on my dad's side will not put me on the death certificate because they know that I'm going to go digging. They just say, oh, well, there's just no point. Like, there's no point. Everyone knows that you're his daughter. Like, there's no point, which is weird to me as well. I'm like, okay, well, like, I want to be on it because I can't get the hospital records, the rehab records, any of the records without proving that I am in fact his daughter. And how am I supposed to do that when he's dead? So there's no DNA test. I can't do that. I'm not on his death certificate. He's not on my birth certificate. Like, I'm at a standstill. I'm still trying to convince them to put me on it. But now it's, oh, well, COVID. Oh, well, COVID. I'm not leaving my house because of COVID. I'm like, it's definitely difficult. I am going to get to the bottom of it, though, because I think that not only my dad deserves the justice because he didn't get to watch me grow up, he doesn't get to watch his grandkids grow up, he doesn't get to watch any of that anymore because of what this man did to him. But also, I deserve the justice because I got that part of my life ripped away from me so young without a second thought. Like, it wasn't like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. This man has a daughter. Like, she's really young. She's only 2. We shouldn't do this. That was never thought of. I was never thought of in this situation. It was, oh, I don't want to get in trouble for stealing this man's wallet. What? And what irks me is I didn't know that this man had a kid, and like, she's like right around the same age as me. And I'm like, you have a daughter my age, and like, you still didn't even think about it. Like, I know there are a lot of people covering. I'm not exactly sure why my dad's family would be covering. His brother is not helpful. He thinks I'm feeding into a conspiracy theory. His sister literally knows nothing. She was so little when this all happened. My grandfather passed, and my grandmother is just like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. But like, it just makes me wonder. I'm like, who is the other person that was involved that you are so okay with protecting? Like, did they threaten you, or like, is it someone that's close to you, or like, what is going on? And I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna do it. I have not stopped since this happened. For the past 5 years, I've had to take breaks because it's emotionally draining, and like, it's sad and it's scary, but like, I just keep finding more pieces to the puzzle, and I will find out eventually. But my dad dying at a young age was definitely a big part of my life because I did grow up without that father figure. Not the father figure, because I do have a father figure, but like my biological dad, and like the what ifs. And that was a lot of my trauma because as a small child, I would go visit this man in the hospital and just lay there, and like, he couldn't talk to me, he couldn't give me advice, like, you know what I mean? And like, I always was just like, is he listening? Like, can he hear me? Does he understand what I'm saying? Like, is he proud? Like, it's such a horrible thing to lose a parent in general, and especially at a young age, because like, you need them. Like, you need your parents at that age. I still need them. Like, so that is one part of my trauma that definitely has contributed to my mental health, to who I am today. It's why I had originally, no thank you, why I had originally gotten into healthcare was because I was always visiting my dad in the nursing home, the rehab. So it was like, I would go in there and I'd check his nails and like check his hair, see if he needed a haircut, see if he needed a bath. Like, I was always just there, like, attentive and like seeing what he was going through and just wanted to care for him. So that is a big reason why I went into healthcare, and why I care so much about helping people, especially people that can't help themselves. I've always had a soft spot for like elderly or like mental health patients or anything like that. But yeah, that is a huge part of my story that I've never really posted on social media, and definitely not about the whole fact that it wasn't even a car accident. That's never been posted on social media. I actually just got more information on that a couple weeks ago, and that's when I found out that that man had died. But yeah, so I just thought I would share that with you, and I am going to add mental health to my channel as well and tell you guys a little bit more about why I am the way that I am and like what I went through my teenage years and adulthood and everything. And I'm happy you guys are on this journey with me. So thank you for tuning in and stay tuned.